Every election year in Nigeria, we've become accustomed to the blame game and the trading of words by politicians or public office holders, with comparisons and criticism of the current and past government a major talking point, as members of various political parties call each other out. Over the weekend, the Special Assistant to Delta State Governor, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, on Youth and Community Development, Prince David Ayodele, hit hard on the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate in the February 2023 election, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying the former Lagos State Governor inflicted hardship on Nigerians, and Nigerians regret voting for the APC in the last general elections. He said the country has been completely destroyed by the Buhari administration and the APC. Joining us on this show this morning to react to the statement by David Ayodele is comrade Ayodele Adewale, State Organizing Secretary, APC, Lagos State Chapter. Welcome to the morning show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Well, I mean, some people may well say that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu asked for it because he first launched the attack on the Delta State Government and on Okowa and on the PDP. And then David Ayodele and Charles Saniago both had to respond in equal measure. Although, you know, you can talk generally about the rally in Warri, the high point of which, in my view, was Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu addressing the crowd in native Ishekiri language and identifying herself as, one of them in Delta State. But your reaction to this criticism? David Ayodele and Aniagu saying, well, the APC has not done well, has no basis, and that your candidate will have to come clean with his records that seem to be too mysterious, either in terms of identity or education or background or achievement.
Well, thank you once again. I would say Mr. David is very confused, judging from the statement of Asiwaju, which presupposes to juxtapose the level of development to the level of income that the state have gotten during the lifespan of the present governor of Delta State. That statement was actually pinning on that, not that nothing have happened, but when you put it together inversely, nothing has really happened to the extent that it should shapen the economic prosperity of that state and add more impact on the well-being of the people. Moving forward, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu have done what is very right, to have spoken to the Shekiris in Delta State. I'm a Shekiri person myself. I'm from the Boyos also. And when you communicate with people in their local dialect, they tend to understand properly where you're coming from and what you want to do for them. This also shows that Asiwaju is a detribalized Nigerian. He also appreciates the colors of nationalities. He understands the Delta nationality question, and he also knows how to tackle many of the problems. And the choice of Mr. Ovi Omoagege is also a square peg in square hole for the people. He's very cerebral. He's a gentleman par excellence. And he has a lot of programs for the Deltans. And may I also take you to 2000 when Asiwaju tried to bring the independent power project that was frustrated by the PDP. It is very gladdening to note that the Delta State government have also borrowed from that program. Right now they have an IPP that is powering their public utilities in Delta State, especially the secretariat that was just built. The power source is an IPP power source. This also goes to show that they have borrowed some programs, some ideas from Asiwaju and from Lagos State.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade. I'd like you to respond to two statements that Prince Ayodele made that stood out from his response to Asiwaju's rally in Warri. First, he said that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu had inflicted hardship on Nigerians, a quote from him. The second quote is, Nigerians are seriously regretting voting for the APC. How would you respond to these statements?
Well, that's a libelous statement. It's just simply fake news. Of course, we should be thankful that the pro-left in 1999 decided to go into election and, of course, into governance. If not that, Lagos still remains the barometer for measuring progress in Nigeria, whether you like it or not. Lagos has one of the strongest economy in Africa when you put it alongside some African countries. On the strength of that, whatever Mr. What's his name now has said is far from reality. If you look at the quantum of funds that Delta State receive, they get the federal allocation, they get local government allocation, they get the derivative fund from the oil, 13% derivative fund, they get ecological fund support. The multinational companies also give a lot of funds, but can you see it in terms of development? You understand? So it was on the strength of that Asiwaju is talking that you have not done well for your people. Remember that when Ramat Muritala wanted to take Lagos as a federal capital to Abuja, the plan started during his administration, and it was said that Lagos will be given special status. Till now, that has not come to be. So Lagos is shouldering enough. And when you look at the human drift, a lot of people come to Lagos for greener pasture. If we're able to implement restriction in terms of border control, Lagos would have benefited more. You understand? The more you have more people in Lagos, the more you stress the funds in Lagos.
But you see, I'm always shocked the way you guys talk about Lagos as if Lagos just happened pre-year 2000 or when Asiwaju became governor. Have you forgotten that Lagos was one of the only crown colonies, the British crown colonies in West Africa? Have you forgotten that Lagos existed since the 1850s, 1860s, thereabouts? That British administration was here? Have you forgotten?
In 1867.
It was 67. Have you forgotten that Lagos, when the amalgamation was done, it was first Lagos Colony with the Southern Protectorate in 1906, then Lagos Colony, Southern Protectorate, and the Northern Protectorate in 1914. I might refer you to the book written by, what's his name? I forget his name. Femi Okunu, Chief Femi Okunu. That says Gidigbe Likowa. So Lagos has always been special. And the economic drift had always come to Lagos, irrespective of anything anybody did over the time. That's one point I want you guys to say right now. Secondly, when people say the APC failed, recently the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics released a report that says poverty has grown so much to be 133 million out of 216 million. Debt to service ratio, so high, 119%. That's what we're using to service. We don't even have it, we are borrowing to service debts. All the economic indices, inflation, over 20%. That's creaming off all our national capital. The state of the nation as we speak today is in a flux that the wife of the president even had to apologize on a BBC documentary that please forgive us because of our failings. So what are you talking about? Show me the successes.
You see, Rufai, I like your sense of history. And I think I must bring history to bear now. You see, Lagos have always ridden on the strength of his history, like you have connoted. You see, the strength also lies in the developmental approach of his leaders in order to continue with the development as they met it, if not for the interregnum that happened during the military intervention, or should I say disruption that happened. For Asiwaju to have picked the gauntlet when the military had bastardized the progression of Lagos, I think you should give him a thumbs up for that. We all saw how Lagos was, how filthy it was, how proliferated the internally generated revenue was then.
Is it clean now?
How proliferated it was then. We also saw how criminality grew to the extent that banks were robbed in broad daylight and people were killed in huge numbers. But when Asiwaju came, he tackled his issues headlong. We've not gotten to a perfected state yet, but we've moved the bar beyond the ordinary, and to the extent that investors and investment are coming into Lagos. On the other part of it, I will also tell you that I remember that Kogi State was also once a federal capital. I remember that in Rivers too was a capital at some point.
At what point was Kogi?
Kogi was during the Lord Lugard. During the Lord Lugard.
Was the capital of Nigeria?
Capital of the British Protectorate then. The reason why I said that is this. Now listen. The reason why I said that
because the only federal capital is Calabar
listen, Rifai.
Yes.
You took us back in history. You took us back to colonialism, right? When Lagos have always enjoyed the status. So I am taking you back also for you to see some corners of Nigeria that have also enjoyed, right? They have already enjoyed this status. But for Lagos to continue to develop along that trajectory of its benefit means that the people that have governed Lagos have tried beyond human comprehension not to allow that stream to be broken off. That was why I used those people. Now, in terms of having the castigation that you just talked about now, that APC is not doing very well and all of that, you can also adduce that to human explosion in terms of population. And if those PDP states are actually linked in nexus to the developmental strides of the APC, I think many of these things that you have brought up now would not have been, and all of that. We would have worked together in harmony, seeing Nigeria first before any politicking among us. And that is where we should be looking at Nigeria first, right? Remember, Asiwaju also perfected and introduced regional integration, wanting to bring everybody together, regardless of the parties. At some point, he was the only one in the ACN AC states then. Regardless of that, he still worked with the PDP in order to achieve regional integration for the Southwest. You understand? He's a nationalist, and you must give him that.
But the APC has not done well.
The APC have done perfectly well compared to the PDP when we have John in front.
Is it possible for politicians to campaign without resorting to abuse, hate speech, despite the fact that clearly the Electoral Act, says this is an offense, right? But politicians are not listening. Section 92, Section 93 of the Electoral Act 2022 forbid hate speech. But that Delta State event was all about abuse. For example,
can you mention?
Just wait. Ovia Omo Agege referred to Governor Okowa as Judas Iscariot of today for agreeing to run on the platform of the PDP. That's his choice. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu referred to ATM, people trying to turn the Delta State into an ATM. Now, Charles Aniagu, the Commissioner for Information, has since responded to him that Delta State is not Lagos, which Asiwaju has put in his pocket. Okay? So these are the things I remember from all of that event, apart from the performance by Mrs. Tinubu. Okay, I heard Asiwaju saying, progress is here. Tinubu is here. Omo Agege is here. Please, could you remind us of the key issues in terms of ideas that your candidates, either at the gubernatorial level or the presidential level, try to push at that rally?
First and foremost, I will tell you that Asiwaju did speak a lot on programs and what the Delta people will benefit from the Asiwaju presidency and all of that. You see, when you say someone is Judas Iscariot, it is not an abuse. It is only to connote that the person is not loyal to a certain objective. It is not an abuse. It is just connotation, explanation towards making people see what you're talking about. It's like using an adage or you are trying to use a proverb and all of that. Now, let's move away from that. Now, if you say somebody is an ATM, right? It's not an abuse. It only means that you're taking something that is not right. That is not an abuse, right? It's like somebody telling somebody that that you're not thinking factually. Factually, you're not thinking. It means that you're not bringing the fact forward. So that is not an abuse. But when you say somebody have pocketed something, you could say that is an abuse because you have to juxtapose the fact. If I pocket your tie, sir, I must have taken it. But if you cannot prove that fact, that I took your tie from your neck, then I can sue you for libel.
So, but what were the issues that your candidate was engaging the people of Delta State with? Let's leave all this abuse.
He was mirroring the reality. You understand? Either you like it or not. Delta State is one of the highest receivers of federal allocation, if not first or second. Judging from that, by now, Delta should have become another Hong Kong in Nigeria. When you marry to their population and their income and their opportunities, it is not landlocked. Delta State has the benefit of the sea. There's ocean economy in Delta State, right? And the presence of those multinational that you have in Delta State is an added advantage to them in terms of CSR and so many other things that will have come up without you taking anything from them. Why didn't the Dangote refinery decide to stay in Delta State? But of course, they did not see the opportunity there because of the hostility of the government in power. They rather came to Lagos State, that is more accommodating and more receptive. So you should look at it from that prism.
Okay, my point is proven. Even you yourself cannot remember the concrete issues.
I told you about programs. I did tell you. He spoke about infrastructure. He spoke about security.
Can you detail?
That is what I'm telling you.
Right.
I'm already telling you.
What you just highlighted are some of the issues in Delta State which you have stated. So how will the APC government, if they do succeed in 2023, address these issues? Can you highlight them?
The APC government will level on the strength that is present in every state. Now, the strength in Delta State lies more in its natural resources and human capital. The Deltans are not gum-doodles, right? I told you I'm a Shekiri person. We have a lot of ocean economic to our advantage. We have a lot of the natural resources to our advantage. And we have a lot of the human capital to our advantage. That was the same thing Ashwaju said when he went to Imo to discuss with the Igbo people that are very industrious, very commercial, and very, very cerebral people. So he has also said that in every state, we are going to boost what you have to the benefit of your capacity.
Very well said. Thank you very much. Let me move a bit away from that and focus on the presence of the wife of the APC presidential candidate's presence and her affiliation or stating that she is from Delta State, being Warrior herself and proving it by speaking the language. Prior to this election season, has Senator Oluwemi Tinubu identified with Delta State?
Many times.
Hold on.
Even Rufai agrees to that.
All right. So I would like you to state it. So identified, because if for a number of people here then coming out to say that I'm from this state or I identify with the people of Warri and Delta State, in the past, what are some of the things, beyond the election that she has done to identify with the state or development using her power as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
She has a charity organization that she uses to reach out to people, not only people of the Isekiri extraction. She has done that many times, even back to Sierra Leone, where she built schools and all of that to assist the war-ravaged country. Like that. Even culturally, she's very close to the Olu of Warri, not just this Olu, the previous Olu and all of that. And readily, a lot of Shekiri people even come around. Even me, in my little space, I have hosted the Boyos, at least in one occasion. I've met with a lot of our family, and the matriarch of the Boyo family is Chief Mrs. Alex Ekweme, Dr. Helen, the wife of the late Vice President. And we reach out to our people. We're very communal. We're very receptive people. She has done a lot. And it is to assure the Delta people that, look, I'm your daughter. And I mean, you're a wife to someone. There's a way you pep talk your husband.
It's interesting because I'm from Lagos State and my husband.
I'm also partly from Lagos too.
And in terms of, so when you talk about, but anyways, go on. Let me not interrupt
you. So, like I was saying, you know how you pep your husband to do things. You know, especially when you are in the other room to speak.
Excuse me.
In the other room, in the private room. To speak to your husband and all of that. I mean, you women have a lot of the strength,
influence,
right, to cool the man down, and
but
also to help them with their notes.
I think just so as not to undermine her person, even in politics, because in her own right, she is a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So beyond speaking to her husband in the other room, she had the influence.
She had the experience.
Yes. So in her own capacity, beyond being the wife of
in her own capacity, remember she was a teacher, right? Yes. She's a lover of children and youth. In fact, she's my mom. And she's also very enterprising, you understand? And she's vast. She has political capital to rally around people, to come donate and execute some programs. Okay. And she will also use her brilliance to check notes with her husband.
Okay.
Understand?
I have an article here that says 62 failed APC promises from the 2015 campaign elections. And the shocking thing is when I read this article, some of the promises have not still been fulfilled. And I could read, I don't have the time to read the 62 of them, but I can pick some. Creation of 3 million jobs per year. You failed on that. You're not creating jobs. Unemployment rate now is over 33%. Some people say it's over 50% when the real figures come in. Because in the last 2 years, MBF has not brought a report. Revival of Ajaokuta Steel Company, where is it? Are we producing steel from Ajaokuta today? I mean, if you want, I can go on. Generation and transmission and distribution for at least 20,000 megawatts of electricity within 4 years, increasing to 55,000 megawatts with a view to achieving 24/7 uninterrupted power supply within 10 years. What have you done as regards that?
Well, I'll take you on your statement that we failed
Have you provided 20,000 megawatts as we speak today?
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, good.
Go ahead.
You said we failed in providing jobs.
3 million jobs a year. Did you provide that?
You said in your closing, you said we failed in providing jobs. Mm-hmm. I will tell you that statement is fake, is not true. Mm-hmm. For every project that is carried out under the APC leadership, it creates jobs.
3 million jobs a year.
It creates jobs. When you plug it together, Rufai, the rail project, the road project, the farm support program, the trader money support program, and so many other programs and other interventions.
What's the numbers to show the jobs created? Give me the stats.
Rufai, if you invite me to your program the next time, I'll bring you factual written facts from all the agencies and ministries.
3 million jobs a year?
Rufai, when you put all of it together, it's beyond 3 million jobs. I want to, Rufai,
so you created more than 3 million jobs a year.
Give me another opportunity.
Okay.
Right? I don't want to be rhetorical about it. If you have told me about this question before I come, I will get you evidential fact from every agencies. And
Nigeria, so you're claiming that Nigeria is creating more than 3? No.
I am telling
so that we
you
get
that
the facts
the APC
right,
government has created more than 3 million jobs
a year.
Aggregately.
A year.
Aggregately.
A year.
Aggregately.
A year.
Aggregately.
Okay.
Do you know how many agencies we have in Nigeria?
No.
Rufai, hold on.
Sorry,
let's break 3 million. It's
3 million jobs.
It's simple mathematics.
Yes.
Do you know how many agencies we have? Do you know how many ministries we have? And all of that? By the time you put all of these numbers together.
Okay, so let's move on to Ajaokuta. Is Ajaokuta back on stream?
Ajaokuta is work in progress. Is work in progress.
But is it working?
It is not as moribund as we met it.
Okay.
Rufai, you and I can go there. I would speak to your Arise TV people. We can go there and do a documentary, and you see the progress that is there.
But you said you were going to complete it.
We've not completed it yet. It's a big project, and that project is also the funding of that project is also competing with other projects.
Do you know how many jobs were lost within your 8 years?
How many jobs were lost?
Do you know the millions of jobs?
We did not retrench any worker, mind you.
Do you know how many jobs were lost because of the economic problems?
This is a panel.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Do you know how many jobs were lost?
Okay, quickly. Olisagbakoba was quoted by one of the papers as saying 90% of infrastructure in Lagos was built by Gawan. The only new thing is the Ikoyi Bridge. and I mean, he's been quoted by a reputable newspaper. He said, look, most of the things in Lagos, where the foundation was laid by General Gowon since 1976, and that the only new thing that has been added is the Ikoyi Bridge during the Fashola administration.
That statement is not true.
Well, look, I mean, I want you to respond to it, because the APC presidential campaign has been run on the basis of Tinubu's performance in Lagos, and also the performance of the Buhari administration. And this is somebody who should know. You can't say Ulisa Agbakoba SAN doesn't know what he's talking about. And he's saying that all this talk about development in Lagos since 1999, you know, really, most of the critical things were done by the Gowon administration. Do you agree?
I have deep respect for Mr. Agbakoba. He's a very senior comrade from the civil society and all, but I would say, with the most profoundest of respect, that statement is not true. When you say 90% was done by Gowon, then what did the Babangida administration do? What did the Ramat Muritala administration do? What did the Balewa administration do? Right? What did Mr. Otedola's father, I mean, what did he do? What did Ashwaju do? So that statement is not factual. Yes, we give it to General Gowon, and thank God for people like Obafemi Awolowo, that was his chief advisor, and economic minister for finance, that was advising him rightly on what to do. And when he missed it, remember, Awolowo left the government because he was meant to hand over government before then. So we won't go back to that history. But I'm only saying that that statement is not true.
All right, thank you very much for your response. I'm just going through what you said earlier on, as Dr. Abati had mentioned that the APC presidential candidate is riding, of course, on his precedence as governor of Lagos State and, of course, the Buhari administration. You had mentioned earlier, which if I had tried to ask you, but you didn't respond, and I'd like you to clarify with regards to his dealing with cleanliness in Lagos State, with regards to dealing with crime rates in Lagos State. Would you say, comrade, that Lagos is a safer place in terms of safety of lives and property?
If you allow me to...
Sorry, 1 second, because one of the big things for the presidential candidates for 2023 in Nigeria is, of course, our security apparatus and the state of security in Nigeria. Therefore, we would like to be assured that whoever we're voting for in 2023 is able to handle security in Nigeria.
If you allow me to borrow an example from Europe, remember when Brexit came up, UK thought they were very comfortable in Brexit. But they quickly realized that in Brexit, the UK environment society was prone to abuse, especially from people from some corners of UK, especially Eastern Europe. And they had to leave the Brexit. Why? Overpopulation. They couldn't control it. Because the border was open for people to come in. You start having beggars on Oxford streets and so many other areas. They had to leave.
Would you say...
I'm coming, madam. No. Madam, I'm coming. They had to leave. I'm trying to link it to what is happening in Lagos. If UK have not left Brexit, perhaps they will be having huge problem on their necks. Now, when you come to Lagos, right, you have a budget. The budget is meant to cater for some certain numbers of people. But again, you cannot control the human flock of people that comes in. Just taking some people off the road and returning them back to where they've come from in order to integrate them, people say Lagos was being hostile and harsh. Work is ongoing. And of course, that mentality for people to keep dropping litters on the road. Look, whatever I eat in my car, I drop it in my car. When I get home, I mop it myself. I put it in the bin after putting it in the trash bag, right? So everybody must inculcate that sense of cleanliness. But I can assure you that by the next term of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, we will take more decisive measures that are human-friendly in order to tackle this problem.
Thank you very much, Comrade Ayodele Adewale, State Organizing Secretary, APC Lagos State Chapter. Thank you for speaking to us this morning.